You alright guys, how we doing? Here for another video. Today I wanted to talk about some of the things that I don't necessarily like about the bodybuilding world. If you're someone who just goes to the gym to look better, I'm not grouping you into this. This is for the hardcore bodybuilding scene and something that as I've grown up, I've actually become more detached from. So a little backstory, I remember when I first wanted to start lifting weights, I was only 15 at the time and I was at my mum's, but she didn't have anything and she wouldn't buy me any because the whole rumour of if your kids weight train that they're not going to grow, and all that bollocks. So I never really got to lift any weights. I had to do like pull-ups and shit and push-ups, but I was still very interested in looking better, getting a six-pack. For all of you who've watched Athlete X, I'm pretty sure most of us, when we started watching Athlete X and learning how to get abs and all that stuff, and like most kids do, is who's got the best abs and I've got bigger arms. Like that's a part of growing up. And I always wanted to kind of get a bit further into it. I always wanted to lift weights. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to get bigger. I wanted to be a bigger guy. Especially for my height. I'm only 5'8", so I'm not exactly in the height department. But, how can I improve upon myself? And I started in the same kind of thing. I wanted to look better. I moved to my dad's when I was about 16. And I remember this so distinctly. He comes... I come in and he said to me, I've seen you training in the garage. Because in the garage he had lots of weights. I said, yeah, I have been. He goes, I got something for you. So he goes up to the loft and he brings down this fuck off huge book. And that was Arnold Schwarzenegger's Bodybuilding Encyclopedia. And he gave it to me, blew the dust off it from his early days. And I just got to reading. And I read through the whole book, back to front, learned exactly, the Mr. Olympia, Arnold's routine, and it was like a new world had opened up to me, and I was just so enticed. There was nothing I wanted to do more than be a bodybuilder. It was my absolute dead set goal. My partner at the time, I was a young partner, girlfriend, whatever, but she left, so I was going through this massive phase of that's it, I'm gonna go fucking, I'm going to get massive, all this stuff, right? And I was so into it for fucking years and years and years, like for quite a few years, I was into it. And then I came across Elite FTS, Dave Tate, and started discovering Westside Barbell, started discovering people like Mark Rippetoe at Starting Strength and stuff like that. And then that's when I got into strength training. Thought, okay, there's quite a few reasons why I should take up training for strength, because I thought, well, simply that the stronger I get, I will eventually get bigger, and that was correct. I was just benching 100 kilos when I was 16. I definitely know it was before I was 17. I benched 100 kilos when I was 16, and then I started drinking half a gallon of milk a day, eating 4 Cornish pasties for pre-workout and 6 brunch bars and all that crap, and my bench skyrocketed. I think it went from 100 to 130 in a year, just absolutely fucking shot. Now that is when I started becoming more addicted to the strength side of things, because you looked at bodybuilders like Arnold and he was like incline benching 4 plates. So I was trying to be bigger, but then thinking like, no, it's not about the weight. And I started to realise, well, if Arnold's incline benching 180 kilos, then I need to be doing that as well. So obviously I still can't do that to this day. However, that's the goal, right? So I get more into like powerlifting, getting stronger, or strength training. I didn't compete until I was 18. I think it was 18. It was my first meet. No, I think it was later than that. But anyway, so I got involved in that, and I started to kind of like notice some things in what the fuck is going on in bodybuilding. So the first one, as I'm sure most of you know, is the tragic deaths of bodybuilders under the age of 50 that have died. Now, I think it was Flex Wheeler who had a really good point about this, as that it's more of a game of chemical warfare now than it is anything else. It's how much drugs could you take before you just fucking die. I used to watch loads of Rich Piana. Honestly, he was one of my fucking favourite guys. I mean, I didn't do anything he said, but he was really good to watch, and he was really entertaining. I watched all of his videos, and he passed away. And it can almost certainly be, you know, attributed to steroid abuse and other party drugs as well that he might have been taking at the same time. I believe this was fucking years ago now. I think it was a heart attack. But anyway, you had like Dallas McCarver. He passed away. And there's a whole list of names. I looked them up the other day. I can't remember them all, but there's a massive list of names out there. And it's kind of tragic that this is kind of promoted as a fitness and wellness kind of sport, bodybuilding, and it's really not. It's fucking horrific. It is one of the worst sports for this I've ever seen. So strongmen take very large amounts of steroids. However, they still have to be athletically fit. They still have to be able to move despite how big they are. There is obviously things, you know, with CPAPs and stuff like that that they have to do because they're so big, which I don't think's great either. But you know, a lot of strongmen are still alive today. I met Magnus Ver Magnusson, strongman from the 90s, 4 times world's strongest man, and he's fucking great, absolutely great. He's in great shape, and I wouldn't doubt the fact that he's been on steroids once in his life. All of strongmen do it, but it's not, you know, there's no 30, 40-year-old guy just dropping dead. I'm sure there is somewhere in the world that someone would put up, but I could also get run over by a car tomorrow. But everybody knows in bodybuilding this is so prevalent and such a major issue. But another issue I had with growing up, I just thought that bodybuilding is such an objective-based sport, if you want to call it. Bodybuilders will say bodybuilding is a sport, and I'm not trying to take away from the hard work they put in and the dieting and the control and the discipline they have to have. But as a sport, it really fucking sucks. It really does, because how are you going to decide what first place is? I know all you bodybuilding heads are going to really fucking try and bite my head off here. But if they're all pretty much the fucking same, right? At what point is anyone the winner? Because that's just your fucking opinion. I remember when Big Ramy didn't win and everyone was saying Big Ramy should have won. Because it's just his favourite. Is there any reason? Not really. You could argue he's one bigger. Oh, but I think he's more defined. It's such an objectively opinionated. It's such an opinionated sport that I don't think that's really fair. It's a beauty pageant for grown men, and I don't like as well the getting in bikinis and shit like that. I just think it's a bit crude. I don't really like that fucking shit, and you're being judged by loads of men who absolutely love looking at men, and it's just a bit. There's a lot of things that have gone on in the bodybuilding industry as well. I'm sure you've all seen Kai Green's video and Cali Muscle's video from back in the day, and there's been plenty more, and it does happen, and that's kind of I'm just not a fan. I also think as well that to idolise someone their body like that is just a bit obsessive. And I think the vanity as well that comes with bodybuilding is really pisses me off. A lot of bodybuilders do walk around like their shit don't stink, and they're the greatest on the planet, and all of this shit. Not to say that an ego isn't well earned, or if you are world champion, that you shouldn't have some kind of confidence with that. But I've sponsored 3 strongman events now, and all of these guys I've met world champions, and they are fucking great people. They'll talk to the person who's last, they'll talk to the person who's second best from them, and there's although it can be quite bitchy at times, when you walk into these environments, no one's staring anyone down. No one's getting all pissed off, and there's nothing like that. Everyone really gets along really well, despite the kind of outside look into the sport. Same with like powerlifting. Powerlifting can be quite a bitchy sport as well, but out of all the meets I've been to, not one person there has like kind of looked at anyone in a really bad way, or kind of got shitty with anyone, or kind of walks around the gym and just doesn't want to talk to anyone. That's not a thing. Another thing as well, like I said, with getting along, is the way that some of these people act and kind of treat people, and I've seen it many and many times. Because of such a high steroid use within bodybuilding, it's the attitudes that come with it fucking stink. Absolute fucking stink. And there's nothing more I can't stand than somebody who has a really fucking shitty attitude because they think they're fucking massive and that they're unstoppable, untouchable, and it really pisses everybody off. That's why there's always a stereotypical bodybuilder who's just a fucking arse. There's like, and also as well, when it comes to training and bodybuilders I've met, it's fucking stupid. Not to say there's any bodybuilders that aren't well informed. There's plenty of people out there. One of my favourites when it comes to muscle building is Mike Israetel. He's one of my favourite guys to go to when it comes to hypertrophy training, as that is his thing. But some of the training protocols is fucking stupid. Like, I made a thread earlier saying that if something's working, don't swap it out. If it is working, just wait for the progress to dry up and then find something new. But like, some of the structures of these programs are just fucking ridiculous. I saw one where it was like glutes and tries on one day, and it's like, who the fuck does glutes and tries? Like, bodybuilders have a really bad time when it comes to like putting body parts together, because for some reason bodybuilders actually think that you can separate a muscle completely from a whole group of them, and that's just not how the body works. You cannot remove a bicep from a row. You can't remove your triceps from a shoulder press. You can't remove your shoulders from a chest press fully. That's just not how the body works. In fact, when you do a front raise, you're also technically working your biceps as well. When you do a straight arm pull down, you're working your triceps as well. The body does not work in one manner where like this is this section and does this, and then this is it. It's not how we are designed. So how you could just do a glute day is really fucking preposterous. Because in order to do glutes, you need hip flexion. With hip flexion, you have to work your hamstrings and you have to work your lower back as well. You just can't fucking do it. It's so funny. I see these programs and they're like doing like just arms. Or they do like chest, arms, back. And it's like, so essentially your arms are being like, you're doing a full workout 3 days in a row. Because you can't remove your arms from your chest workout or your back workout. And then you're getting an arm day as well. So you're doing 3 days of continuous arms. Like, there's not a lot of thought there, because for some reason, I'm not saying this is a majority, this is very niche community, but I find it really fucking hilarious. And even like normal people who kind of buy into it, because their favourite bodybuilder said it, that, I mean, I'll go out on a whim here as well. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Olympia routine, if I remember correctly, there was like chest and back, then it was like arms and shoulders, and then it was legs. Now, legs is fine. You can group legs all into one, and you won't really use your upper body that much, depending on what you're doing. But like, you're doing arms twice in a row. Like, you're doing arms and arms. Like, why not just fucking put legs in there? You can mix it about. A lot of people look at me funny as well, because whenever I tell them about my training, I always tell them that I'll have, let's say, like day one, I'll have squats to start with, and then it'll go into an upper body session. Well, why are you doing it all at the same time? So because this is how the fucking body works. Like, the body doesn't work in little segments, like, you know, little factory workers. Like, it's all one big combined unit. You know, it doesn't work that way. So that's one thing I hate. Another thing I hate about bodybuilding, the hardcore bodybuilding, is the training is shocking. Another thing you'll find as well with bodybuilders is the like injury rate of like detachments. And now this can be argued that because of the steroid use, that their muscles have overgrown their tendons. So meaning that their muscles have got so big so quickly, and their tendons haven't had time to catch up, and they've had accidents. Sometimes a lot with form as well. You'll see with bodybuilders, they'll do like half rep bench presses where they won't touch their chest, or have like a fully established range of motion, whatever that is. And then one day they'll go a bit deeper than they normally do, and their chest just fucking rips off the bone. So you know, there's so many bodybuilders that train like shit. They program their fucking routines like shit. Now, if it works, whatever. But when it comes to you guys listening to these people, you just shouldn't fucking listen to half of them. There is people out there who have really good information and have put years of work into this and are completely honest with you. But a lot of these, I made another thread as well the other day. It's like, they'll say, oh, don't worry about the weight. Oh, you know, you could just curl the tens. Like, but it's all about the contraction, bro. And then they won't tell you about the 3 grams of steroids they've been munching on all fucking week. They don't tell you that bit. Or go, oh yeah, by the way, I'm on like Tren, Deca, or like Masteron, or whatever the fuck. Do you know what I mean? They don't tell you that. What's in the Fruit Loops? They're not fucking telling you that shit. Of course they're not, because that, funny enough, is the main driver, which leads me to my last point as well, why I don't like bodybuilding. And this is back to steroids, is that the way steroids are talked about in bodybuilding is really like, I just fucking hate it. Go to any strongman event, honestly, guarantee it, most of them will tell you that they're taking it, or that they're on it, or they'll even tell you what they're taking. It's such an open field. You know, the women are on it, the guys are all on it. Like, it's a big, massive, but they're all fine. None of them care. It's all very open. No stigma. That's fine. That's great. But in bodybuilding, they're like, you know, there's such a like natty, you know, pride that they're holding on to, you know, and their advice they give to people who aren't on steroids or don't plan on taking them, it is pretty shitty, because they might themselves think that what they're saying is working, but they're missing a huge factor that the majority of us will never experience, is that how many hormones are rushing through their bloodstream every minute, right? And you know, they'll go, as I said, oh, it's just about the contraction, but they don't mention about the steroids. And what else fucks me off is they're like, well, steroids don't actually, you know, they don't do that much for you. You still have to work really hard. You still have to, in fact, I put more work in because I have to. And it's like, stop trying to make steroids not a fucking cheat code when it fucking is. Like, it clearly is. If it didn't have a really big advantage, you wouldn't fucking take it. So you can't sit there and say like, oh, well, yeah, but you know, I don't want to be on steroids. Like, you know, in fact, I have to do more that I'm on steroids. Like, no, you fucking, actually, you don't. Yeah, you do. You can do less. Multiple studies have shown that even just sitting on the sofa, you will put muscle on more rapidly than someone who actually trains without those extra hormones. This is just proven fact. This isn't a debate. This isn't, you know, and this is what I love about the strength community. It's not a debate. It's fine. Like, everybody's aware that steroids make you stronger, make you bigger, you know, improve your performance, improve your recovery. This is all fucking knowledge. But yeah, in the bodybuilders, they're like almost ashamed to admit that it's the only way you get to that point. You can't be a professional bodybuilder unless you take those steroids. There's all these kids and they believe that their favourite Mr. Olympia is Natty, and it's like, no, they fucking ain't. Like, it's just not. It's a false dream, and they will try and sell you on it. I don't even know why. many years ago, it was about supplements, and it'd be about trying to push supplements. If you buy this supplement, you'll look like me and all these guys. That's not even really a fucking thing anymore. Like, I'm sure it still happens, but you know, there's no reason to lie to your audience. You know, and there's a few powerlifters I could name as well. To be fair, but this argument that, oh well, you know, steroids aren't, that's just my extra bit of vitamins. You know, it's this bollocks. Like, of course it works. It's the only reason you are your size. You couldn't be your size without steroids. It's a fact. You know, I am the way I am, so I don't take steroids, and I will never be 120 kilos ripped, because that's not physiologically possible, right? So if I was 120 kilos ripped, the only way I'm getting there is by taking shit tons of steroids. It's reality, and that's what really fucks me off. Anyway, that's all I want to say on that today, guys. I know it's quite a controversial opinion, and some of you may not like. Oh, excuse me. An opinion that some of you may not like. However, growing up wanting to be in the industry of bodybuilding and then removing myself from that and looking from an outside perspective, I can see that bodybuilding has lots of problems, and I don't think that it'll be fixed overnight, or that maybe it'll even get any better. But I thought that if there's anything I can do is just make you guys a little bit more aware of some of the things that go on, and maybe just enlighten some of my own personal issues with it. Anyway, see you later, guys. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.